I don't know, just get right down to it. Every once in a while, we just go get right to business, down to business.
I feel like we are going to need to, for this month when we are recording not in our studio, we're going to need to like adjust our chairs. Remember that episode where Robin was really short? We got like talking to her way down there. That's how I feel. I feel super small. I need to maybe invest in a phone book. Do they still make those?
Phone book.
Couple of yellow pages.
This is The Naturalist. In every episode, we're covering the products, ideas, and trends that are shaping the CPG industry.
Or that we just really like.
So let's talk about upcycling. We haven't talked about this in a long time.
It has been a while, and it's still around. It's still going strong, I think.
Still a thing. I actually was doing a little bit of research. So Meredith Kaufman, who's been on the show before, our associate editor, did a gallery about 10 upcycled products. And I was looking through it and I thought, like, oh, there's a lot of new stuff here. And I just kind of was poking around a little bit because I remember when the Upcycled Food Association launched. And I was going to say it was 2 years ago. I looked online and said it was 2019. So time flies.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But one of the stats I saw in an article is that they said they have increased 17% over the prior year. So that's 2024 to 2025 in terms of brands that have signed on for the verification process. And now it's part of the Where Food Comes From group.
Oh, yeah. That's who's doing, Where Food Comes From is doing the certifying for Upcycled Foods Association, right?
Right. So it says that they have done, well, since the program started in 2019, 806 products. So that's pretty big. I mean, it's still growing. 17% growth is pretty robust.
It is. And I think what's so interesting and what I love about Meredith's piece and just our recent coverage of it is upcycled ingredients are being used across various categories. At first, it was in a lot of food and beverage, upcycled ingredients and a lot of food and beverage products. But now we're seeing more supplements and beauty products. And so it really does have this cross-category relevance, which I think is really cool and probably leading to some of that growth. But for people who don't know, I think most people know what upcycled means. But what does upcycled mean, Adrienne?
Well, in the definition that the Upcycled Food Association uses, they are very careful to say that this is something that would have been, that it's something that would have been discarded, not necessarily in a landfill or the trash. It could have gone to animal feed or it could have been used for something else. But they're saying is when you take something that would have been discarded and you transform it into something of higher value that's for human consumption. So that's the important piece here. And I'm not going to lie, I have had like a caveat-y experience with upcycling because I think it's fantastic. I support it so much. But sometimes I get a little skeptical because you feel like, well, ugly fruit chips. Well, weren't those ugly fruits already going to another purpose? They weren't being thrown away. They were maybe being going to... Did I get cut off?
Well, you froze. And I think that was the upcycling God saying, don't be skeptical.
Well, it's just that sometimes, upcycled fruit chips, those ugly fruits, as we like to call them, were already going to be juices or juice pulp, or they were already going to something else. So I think having a small amount of skepticism is healthy.
Yeah, I think so. But I also think it's important to look at like the whole upcycled kind of ecosystem
right.
It creates. And there's a lot of these byproducts of certain manufacturing processes that would go to waste, not even necessarily because of how they look or even how they taste, but rather because of just the process that a certain company uses, and they end up with all of this waste. And so to partner with other companies to say, okay, there actually is a use for this. So I think it also, goes beyond that ugly fruit and vegetable conversation or ugly produce and into just how is a company making the most of every potential potential input. And so that's why I think upcycling is also really cool because of the partnerships that can come from it. I think we saw that early on, like companies identifying, oh, this company over here actually has something that I could be using and looking at it like that. So it's pretty cool. I wanted to talk about some of these products because we have some really great new ones entering the market. I really think this Blue Stripes dried cacao superfruit gummies is an interesting one because the chocolate industry actually wastes 70% of the cacao pod, which is pretty crazy. So again, most of that ingredient isn't even being used. And so these gummies, which I have not tried, but I want to. Have you tried them?
I haven't tried these, but a few years ago, Blue Stripes sent me an entire cacao pod. Which I had never seen before in real life. It was so cool.
Delivered to the office or your front step. You have a cacao.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then they sent products with it that kind of showed all of the uses for all of the different parts of the bean. And it was fascinating. I mean, this company has really been, walking the walk and talking the talk and been doing it really well and growing slowly. So I think this is really exciting to see that they're still around. They're still innovating. Yeah, it's really cool.
And this gummy uses the cacao fruit, which is really rich in vitamins and minerals. It has natural sweetness. And so it's just a really great use of that ingredient and cute branding too.
Now I'm wishing I hadn't opened my mouth about my skepticism earlier. I feel like I was a real Debbie Downer.
It's okay. It's Friday. You just got to let it all out.
I got to let it go. Another product from this gallery. Well, I want to give a quick shout out to Diana's Real Bananas because this brand has been around forever. I feel like we don't give it enough love because it's just kind of always been in that frozen sweets case, the chocolate covered bananas. And but they've really started embracing upcycling in the past few years in a lot of their different products. So these salted caramel ones, they use smaller, irregular bananas, cover them with chocolate. They're delicious, but I just feel like we don't give them enough love because they just feel like they've been around forever, but they're still doing it right.
Well, and I do have to say that was the product that we covered that I was like wanting to run to the store and buy it because it looked so good. Like I might actually go buy it after this. Does Sprouts carry? Sprouts does, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bought their products at Sprouts before.
You're like,
I don't know if this product don't want angry text me later from Sprouts.
We also, I know like maybe we were going to skip over this one, but I do want to give a quick shout out to the climate Candy Faves because we've been talking about candy. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. And I just think this is another kind of really interesting product. It's using entirely made from imperfect fruits and vegetables, sweetened with fruit juice and fruit puree, and kind of looks like a natural Starburst, which we've been jonesing.
Well, and I love that they put that climate call out on the packaging because I think the more customers are educated, or they'll say like climate, why is that climate? And then flip over the package and say, oh, interesting, it's upcycled. So I think that call out is just great for customer facing packaging.
It is. And I think we talked about this in our interview. Gosh, it was probably a couple of years ago when we interviewed the Upcycled Foods Association for the podcast. But remember, one of the things they talked about was the climate aspect of upcycling and how that's a connection that they think is really important for consumers to make. And I wonder if they are making it, if consumers are connecting food waste and climate issues. And you and I talked the other day about like, are consumers making purchases because of upcycled, or is it more something that's happening on the back end in the industry, but not necessarily something that consumers are really thinking about or prioritizing? So just an interesting call out, and reinforces what you said, Adrienne, that identifying climate benefits as one of the things tied to upcycling is probably going to be really important for consumer awareness in the future. So yeah.
I mean, I saw this in a press release from 2024. It said 1.2 million tons of food waste, or the equivalent of 248 million bags of groceries, were diverted from the upcycle, brands with the upcycled standard.
Wow.
So, and it said that year alone accounts for 35% of the 3.4 million tons of food that has been upcycled since the program launched. So the impact, I think, is very clear.
Look at you throwing out those stats left.
You know me, I love data.
Okay, I want to switch gears to a different category. And I have seen a lot of beauty products in the past that used upcycled parts of the grape. So like, I know there's some wineries that also do soaps because grapes have resveratrol. That's an antioxidant. It could be good for your skin as well. So I've seen a little bit of that and some other beauty products. But one of the products I wanted to talk about is Enough Blue Light Elixir. It's a skin elixir. It's an antioxidant serum. So obviously the positioning is that it's meant to shield skin from the effects of blue light exposure. So that's just kind of an interesting like micro category in skincare and something I think more people will be paying attention to. But the main ingredient in this product is upcycled blueberry seed oil. So it's sourced from the waste of pulp of the fruit juice industry.
That's so cool.
I think that's a great example of something that just would have otherwise gone unused and wasted. So pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, we talked a little bit about Lundberg just because I'm a huge fan on our last show. They have this great upcycled organic white jasmine rice. It was a NEXTY finalist in 2025. So this year, and it's basically, I'm going to put this very ineloquently, broken grains. You know, when you get a bag of rice and you look and all the grains are perfect and wonderful. Well, these are broken grains of rice. So imperfect. And, it's got a great price point too, which is fantastic. So consumers can get this organic rice at a better price point because it's just imperfect. And I think it's just such a great way that this company continues to shine just on every level of sustainability and commitment.
I like that they're doing that. And my favorite part of this product is it just like in like massive letters says upcycle.
Yes.
On the front.
Yes.
There is no
mistaken.
No mistake. This is an upcycled product. And to see that from Lundberg, I think it could really raise awareness. So, I really like that. Should we go maybe to a totally different category?
Yes.
Another category that we did talk about on last week's episode, but new chapter, Wholemega fish oil. So this is not something I've seen a lot of upcycled ingredients being touted in dietary supplements. So that's pretty cool. And this is made from upcycled trim from sustainably sourced wild Alaskan salmon. So very interesting there. This is not a category I would have thought of, but makes total sense, right?
Yeah, I love this. I think that is so innovative. I'm sure they're partnering with salmon companies, fisheries, and I think this is the best possible example of how brands can get really creative with their sourcing.
Yeah. I really like New Chapter too.
I did too.
Yeah, I just got back and I just recently bought a New Chapter product again. Like I brought in one that I used to take back into the mix. Yeah.
It's hard to, I think it's hard in our line of work to buy supplements. Because I'm like, I have so many at home already that I don't take.
I know I was going to ask, I feel started taking your supplements since our last
No, but I'm going to someday.
I will go and take them because I take my supplements religiously. I cannot miss a day. Or
I'll have to have you over for dinner. I always open the supplement drawer when people come over for dinner. I'm like, what do you need? What ails you?
Actually, that does make me a little upset that I've never been invited over for dinner.
We'll fix that. You can come too, Maddie. You need some supplements.
Do I look like I know? Oh, you need not pallor like you need. Okay. Anything else are there any other products you have to call out? Oh, I do have one that I wanted to share with you.
Oh, let's hear it.
You go.
I gotta say that I really want to try the Trashy Spacey sea salt chips.
Of course
you do. I just love that. Well, I love a chip. I love my salt, but I just love the name. Trashy Spacey sea salt. So they're, misfit veggies, spinach, collards, carrots. I'm not going to say anything skeptical about that because I've changed my ways, but I just love the name
just
Trashy. That's a brand name.
Trashy.
Yeah, what about you?
I was going to say that pet product, the Shameless
Yeah.
Pets Crunchy Bites, because again, across all the categories, we're seeing it. I'm always looking for really great treats for Kaya, and these little dog bites. I also think like they're just like these cute little. They look cute, but they have bacon, cheese, and chicken and sweet potatoes that are all rejects, but are put in.
That sounds delicious.
It does.
Do you remember a couple of years ago at the NEXTYs, we had all these pet products? It was like the year that natural pet products exploded, and we had a few pet products, and they had these incredible ingredients like that. And I remember people eating them. I didn't.
Yeah.
I do have limits.
I don't remember that, but I don't doubt that it happened.
I won't say any names, but yes, there was quite a big
things happened at the NEXTYs.
crazy things.
Well, I'm glad we revisited Upcycled because we just haven't talked about it in a long time, and look how much innovations.
Yeah. And something that struck me lately, because we hadn't talked about it in so long, and it had, I don't know, we talked about it so much at the beginning of this association's kind of tenure. Is I kind of have been hearing a lot lately from brands getting the certification. I was like, oh, that's still a thing, which is, there's no reason that it wouldn't be a thing because upcycling is growing. And I'm so excited that I see it in the grocery store now, and you see the call outs on retailer shelves. But I've been hearing a lot from brands just saying, oh, we're still getting this, or we have the certification. And it's just really great to see that it's not only continuing, but growing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll have to try more upcycled products on the regular. And Adrienne, actually, did you end up using your upcycled egg yolks?
Oh, good question. I did use some of them. I didn't use all of them. I used some of them in a quiche, but I was worried that if I just did yolks and like one white that was mixed in there, it would just be flat.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I used them in quiche, and it was really, really good, but very rich.
Oh.
But we had also just talked with Erica about how the protein comes from the egg white, which I didn't really know that, and not so much the egg yolks. I was like, and I'm not getting the proteins.
Maybe
but it was delicious.
Maybe you can start like protein less end products, like the less protein quiche. All right. Well, happy
Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah,
a little
me too.
bonus episode, a little bonus recording. I do miss the studio, but we'll be back soon. And please remember to rate and subscribe and share with your friends and your parents and your kids and right?
Yeah, your pets.
Your pets.